Jane, that's new. Can you hear me, Jane? We just had a problem with the audio, and I had to check it out. Hello, Melissa. Can you guys hear me? Just give me a little hint. Hello, Didi. Hello, David. Thank you for stopping by. I was just on, but we couldn't get the sound going, and I had to check it out. Can you guys hear me now? Could someone tell me if you can hear me now? And David is male 25 Albuquerque. Good for that, and thank you for that. Jane, could you also? Oh, good. You guys can hear me. That's good. That means you don't have to go to the doctor. Show your ears. I was just checking your ears. System is fine. Now, Jane, let me know a little bit about you as far as age, gender, and where you tuning in from, which country, which city, which continent, which world. And Melissa, the same for you. Didi, same for you. If you will, please. Carpe Diem says, I can hear you now. Good afternoon, man. Good afternoon, Carpe Diem. Good to see you as well. The system was giving me a little bit trouble to get on. I had that Wheel of Death showing, that when it doesn't compute. So I had to reboot it. And I think when I did that, it took the mic off. So I had to go back into the OBS, and my genius dawned on me. Had left me for a long time. That checked the audio, and yeah, sure enough, the mic wasn't set up on it. So I clicked on choose, and here we are. And so what about the protocol, guys? Jane is a female, 23, Seattle. Oh, Seattle. I went to school in Seattle. My first language school was in Seattle, Seattle U. And what was the street? I remember it was an uphill street. Tram was connected there. I think it was Cherry Hill or Cherry Street, something like that. Am I close, Jane? Seattle U. And then I transferred later after I got to know how to speak a little bit English. And I went to Portland, Lewis and Clark. That's where my school is. And Melissa says South Carolina. These are new. Melissa, I've seen your comment, I guess, here and there on the channel's videos, but I don't think you've ever participated in one of the live streams. Carpe Diem 41, male Canada. Thank you for that. We got a Canadian here. Back me up. Didi says, I'm 25 from Minnesota. Male. Oh, okay, Didi. I don't know, for God knows what reason I thought Didi was a girl's name, and I was not, I don't know, somehow. I guess that's how we are conditioned to think about certain alphabets and words relating to this or that. And Sid is here from Estonia, male 32, Estonia, says, hope you are well. I miss you. Well, I miss you too, Sid. Hope all is well, and haven't heard from you for a while. Sid says, hello, General. Hello, Colonel. And what's the news on the PhD, Sid? And everything is tranquil on all fronts, and of course on the romantic fronts. The girls, what's going on? Hope you found your balance and able to handle all different attitudes thrown at you here and there. Lost track of number of girls you go out with. Once. Melissa says, yep, first time on the live stream. Okay, welcome, Melissa. And Melissa is from South Carolina. All right. Okay, we're open for business. We've got 11 likes and 5 people. That's quite interesting. I didn't know you guys can like 2 times each. It's impossible. But we have more than 5 people, isn't it? We have Jane, Melissa, that's 2, Didi, that's 3, David, that's 4. Then we have Carpe Diem, that's 5. Sid, 6. And Majid is here, that's 7. He says, hi Mehran, how are you been? How have you been? Or how? Yeah, have you been? Where you've been? Well, I've been having a live stream every Saturday. You guys should know that I've spent money on advertisement. I've put it on on the channel. I've announced it 100 million times. But during the past while, you've never been around, Majid. I hope you're well. And Sid says, no news. Doctoral counsel on holiday till August 24th. All right. Sid says, then they give me a date for a final defense. All right. Sid says, no girls, happy being this way. Okay, fair enough. Melissa says, thank you. You're quite welcome. And Sid says, I want to share something with you. Everything going well, but since last few days, I'm having lots of negative thoughts. Well, join the human race. You're finally becoming normal, because the one who doesn't have negative thoughts is basically pretty much not from this world that we know of. We all have the same set of kind of mechanism in the brain, electrical systems, and negative thought is part of its mandate. For many reasons, which we've talked about it in many different videos, and if I want to start talking about it, I'll go on for another 2 hours. I plan on making an elaborate video discussing this whole psyche and its conditionings the conditionings that we've received, each one of us, but pretty much the same, although we all lived differently, different places, and grew up in different societies. But the way the brain has been conditioned throughout our childhood and our life is pretty much the same no matter where we go, because it's the same engine, same machine with same functions, mandates, and malfunctions. So that would be not too difficult to figure that out. And you have all seen certain kind of experiences in your life that you know this doesn't make sense, but it's there. So why is it there? Not because you have asked for it to be there, because there is a mandate in the brain to just simply conjure up thoughts. And in doing that, it has no responsibility. So it just creates thoughts without really having any goals for it or responsibility for its results or functions or what it causes. Because all it thinks is, since it's not an entity, it's not you, it's an apparatus, is a feature, is a machine, it just does its job, makes thoughts, without any responsibility of what these thoughts mean, what do they refer, what kind of confusion it could bring. But it is your job to know that a thought is not intelligent, is not the same as smarts and intelligence. It doesn't know about you. It just knows about itself, that is designed to make thoughts. But when it makes thoughts, you have been conditioned to think that thought is you. So when it makes thoughts and the thought stinks in your standards, it doesn't represent you, your preferences, including your gender, including anything else, and negative thoughts, you get bamboozled. You think, oh my goodness, my gender is changing, or I can't do this, or this is this way. But none of them is correct. You're just conditioned to believe what appears in the screen of your head. And then you get bamboozled by it to the point that you go nuts and crazy in all different fronts. So the idea is to understand the characteristics, mandates, and capabilities and malfunctions and disabilities, powers and malfunctions of this thing that you call brain, and mistakenly you think it's you. It's not you. That's the whole thing. That's one of the many reasons that what we all go crazy, because we follow thoughts. Thoughts do not represent us. Thought is a mechanism. It's full of 80, 90,000 thoughts a day, all full of bullshit. You're supposed to understand you're above it all, and you're supposed to select based on what's useful and based on who the me is. The me is not the thought that shows up in your head. Separate the two, you will begin to find freedom. Freedom of mind, freedom of thought, freedom in your life. Now, we will have another video that I will prepare. That would be a while. I don't know when I get to do it, but it has to be done in segments. It's going to be a long one, and you better have popcorns when you want to sit and watch that one, because I intend to get through your heads and make you guys understand that you are different than thoughts, and you are different than your brain, and you are free, and you're the master, not that apparatus that is running most of your lives and making you feel unsuccessful, unworthy, puts you down, keeps you down. Even it's arrogant enough and you're brainwashed enough to believe when it touches on your sexual orientation and your on gender and makes you confused. Thought, brain is very powerful. When it conjures up thoughts, thoughts create reaction to the body. And because you feel that reaction, you think, oh, you've changed to this or that or whatnot. All nonsense, all bullshit, irrelevant, meaningless. We've discussed that in my elaborate series of intrusive, transient, OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts playlist on this channel, which you can go and check it out from video 1 to video 21. There are many videos on that playlist, but these particular numbered videos 1 to 21 addresses most everything about it, other than the angle that I will be discussing in new videos that I'm hoping to get time to do it. The problem is I think of it, then I forget about it, and then I got to think about it again. So we'll eventually catch it in time. All right. So so Sid says, I wanted to share something with you. Everything's going well, this and that. And everything is going well. But since the last few days, I'm having lots of negative thoughts. Oh, okay, that triggered my long speech. I saw this explosion in Beirut, he says. Patients dying left and right due to the virus. Even one of my friends in India passed away due to the virus. I'm having negative thoughts that I might also die soon. I'm not joking, just having these thoughts. Who doesn't? What's so unique about you? You think these thoughts just, oh, I'm a victim. I'm thinking about I might die. Well, we all have thought that. But so what? So there's another 80, 90,000 thoughts a day comes to our heads. Am I supposed to be following it up to the rabbit hole and see where that takes me? Where does it take me, that thought? Nowhere. It wastes my time while I'm alive to things that I got to do. I'll be sitting and worried about, I might die. Yeah, I might, because whether it's a virus or something else, I might die anyhow. I might die for the sake of, I don't know, something stops, brain, heart, this and that. I hope not. I love you, heart. Always be nice to yourself, you know. Give that energy, good love to yourself. Learn to love yourself. Appreciate, respect yourself. Anyhow, I might die. I don't know. Eventually, anyhow, if not today, maybe then, a few years from now. Who knows? So that possibility that you have considered it to be a threatening thought has always been there since 1,000,000 years ago, since we were conceived, since humanity became whatever, or animals. The whole premise of this life is temporary. In a temporary setting, everything dies. Who is alive to begin with? So that is not a novelty that you should be afraid of it. Oh, today I woke up and I had a thought of I might die from this or that. Well, every day you can get up and you can get hit by a truck. Why don't you think of that? Because nobody talks about it all day long. TV says, today 5 million people died from having been hit by the truck. Oh, eventually all these things finds their way as a priority in your brain. What do you think one of the main reasons for these OCDs and HOCDs and all these difficult subsets of OCDs that we all are subject to deal with? Because such thought patterns, such possibilities of being hit by the car or a different lifestyle or different sexual orientations, all these are on the news all the time. People's personal lives is discussed constantly. What trouble, I don't know, husband and wife find, this cheats on that, this cheats on that one. These are all out in the open on programs on TV, newspapers and tabloids. And these are topics of discussion that constantly it's coming towards you in your field of knowledge that is out there. It is presented to you. So whatever is presented to you is a raw ingredient for thought manufacturing plant we have set up right on this real estate, your head. That's the ingredient that this factory takes regardless of what it is. It's about lifestyle, it's about, I don't know, buying a boat, it's about getting hit by a car, it's about bolt of lightning, it's about sexual orientation, it's about whatever it is that is out there, has been introduced to you, somehow it has found its way to the library of your consciousness. Thought is going to be active on it and making stories and negative thoughts for your type of lifestyle. It becomes a thought. But then you say, why am I thinking of this? Because it's out there and it's been focused on and you've been hearing it, and therefore brain is picking them up and turning them into concern. Because its job is to create fear for us in order to keep us safe. So whatever is not of your interest, it brings it to your attention to make you aware of it, and in doing so creates fear for us. So, this is not a novelty that you're concerned about dying. Everybody has always been concerned about dying, but because they've been keeping themselves busy with living, the dying disappears. But if you're concerned with yourself with the dying possibilities, which has always been there, it's nothing new, then you will miss the opportunity to live. The living will disappear. And this is what you've been doing. As I have said, which I've written on one of the t-shirts that nobody buys, it says, to help the channel, it says, life is an illusion. The illusion you focus on is the reality. So if you focus on this, that doesn't exist for you. If you focus on that, that doesn't exist for you. But if you focus on that, neither one exists for you. So in all cases, it's an illusion. But when you focus on an illusion, even when it doesn't exist, that becomes your reality. Because the reality for you is what you're actually engaged in. And if you want to engage yourself in bullshit, in negative thoughts, in intrusive thoughts, that you're a pedophile, you want to harm someone, you want to kill yourself, or your gender is changing, or you're heterosexual but you think you're homosexual, or vice versa, or however it is, well, that's going to seem like the reality because you're focusing on something that doesn't really exist. But if you focus on it, you become occupied with it, when we become occupied with it, nothing else seems to be in your field of vision, or your field of vision of the mind, or your attention. Therefore, you don't think all other facts that existed, and how you always lived, and how you are, and what you are, including everything about you, including your sexuality, suddenly they seem to be not in existence. Why? Not because they have disappeared, because you're focusing on this goddamn thing. And if you stop focusing on this and focus on something else, that doesn't exist, because it never did when you were yourself and just focus on life and not being bamboozled by nonsense that the thought conjures up. You were smart to pay attention to what you like, what you are, how you are, without focusing on all these negative, intrusive thoughts that the brain is just making without having any responsibility, because brain is not you. It's not representing you. It's just an apparatus, does its job, keeps doing, making thoughts. But you're supposed to be choosing thoughts that you know it's useful for you, or dissing the thoughts that you know it's garbage. You're supposed to be the judge, not the follower of some nonsense here that is supposed to be your subordinate, a faculty of many faculties that you have, like vision, like hearing. Thought is the same. You look at something, you don't like it, you turn around. You choose. You hear music or a sound or statics, you don't like it, you plug it, you go out of the room. You choose. But when it comes to thought, you don't choose. Oh, that's me. Oh, it's thought. It means something. It's deity. Oh, that's me now. But if you understand the ability of brain, then you have no problem understanding the bullshit that appears in your head, and there's no secret, no difficulty to get rid of it easily by just knowing the facts and truth. And this is the truth. I want you all to do this for me. I want you all to do this for me. This moment. Can you think about a vehicle, any car you like, that is flying to the moon? Imagine, in the sky, in the space, and the head of the car is an elephant and its trunk is moving. And the car has a tail of a monkey. Can you do that? Can you see it? The car is flying with the fire coming out of it, is rocketing up, and its head is an elephant with the trunk going up while it's flying, and the back is the tail of a monkey or tail of a crocodile. And now that you have imagined that, I want you to change the head of the car to a crocodile. And have the back of the car a tail of a elephant. I want you to change the car to a ship right now. It's a ship with the head of a tiger or head of a lion and the tail of a, I don't know, whatever, a bicycle. Can you do that? Now I want you to come on Earth and imagine a lion's head and an elephant body. And I want you to think of a lion with the head of a duck. Can you do that? I want everybody to say yes or no. Have you been able to imagine these, what I've asked you? Please, right away. I want to see the feedback, then I will continue. Where are the rest of you guys? Tell me if you've been able to imagine, picture, create that image that I've asked. All right. Looks like you mostly have the one that I've received. There are 14 of us here. I wish I would have heard from all of you. But answer me this. Is it possible to have a car with the living head of an elephant, as I described, rocket into the moon? Or is it possible having a lion with a duck's head in reality? Or is it possible an elephant with the lion's head? Has any of these things that we conjured up is possible in the real world at all? Is it? Can it be a reality? Is it really factual, what we just conjured up? The ones who think no, again, express your understanding of what I'm asking. What we've conjured up, outrageous as it was, is it something that is actually normal, possible? Lovely Lily rightfully says no. All right, Muhammad says no. Good, okay. And the rest of you. All right. So, this is the ability that the brain has to create non-existent shit and make you visualize it, make it clear on the screen of your head as existing thing, an image that lives. It can create those images which you all know it's impossible, it's not true, but it creates it so brilliantly. This is the ability that the brain does to create non-existent things. This is called neural ensemble, that sets up a cluster of neurons, creates them in different ways, and this information through the tunnels of transferring the information from one end of the head to the other end of the head to the next neuron. They live in different parts of the brain and they send them, but they have to be so precisely happening, that imagination on the same time, to be able to be orchestrated to create that image. And it can do that. It can do it so brilliantly because it's designed to do it. But we all know it's an impossibility in real world, right? We have no problem in seeing it, yeah? But we have a goddamn problem to understand that this bloody shit does the same goddamn thing in our head about the rest of the things that we are dealing with in our daily life, including suggesting that you are no longer the gender that you've been. That you might, if you're heterosexual, we're talking about HOCD, which is homosexual OCD, which is when you're heterosexual, it hits you with the thoughts of you're not heterosexual, you're gonna be gay, you're gonna turn gay, you've been in denial, creates all these things, and whatever your gender is creates an opposite of that, but you have a problem believing that this is bullshit. Knowing that it is capable of creating all these things that we imagine that none of them exist, we all know it's impossible. You know the ability that brain can make impossible things seem possible, and yet you still fall for the shit that it makes you think, that to the point and to the limit that even tells you your sexual inclination is changing. Brings a thought, and it's so powerful, brain, that makes your body react to the thought, and then you say, oh, then I'm not the gender I've been. I'm not heterosexual because I just had that sort of thought. That is the same as the elephant with the lion's head, neural ensemble. It creates that bullshit because it can, because it doesn't know. It doesn't know that it is doing stuff that is not true. It doesn't care. Why? Because thought is not you to care. It doesn't give a damn. It's its own thing. It's separate system. It's independent system. But you think because it resides in your head, this ability, therefore it is you. Whatever happens up there, it's you. It's not you. It's like a crazy person that is actually doing what it does, and you're supposed to think what that decides is the fact. It should be the fact for you. I want you to understand the relationship between you and your brain. That you're not the brain is not you. You're not thoughts are not you. I have put a link of Dr. Schwartz, the scientist who's spent all his life on neuroscience of habit and OCD and the concept of the role of the malfunction of the brain, caudate nucleus, the delivery of the suggestions from frontal cortex to amygdala, and then the reward center and the goal searching center and addiction center, all being on the same circle and working together. And from OCD you go to the compulsion, and from the compulsion you get the dopamine, and from the dopamine it creates addiction to dopamine, and then continuously becomes a habit. Then we go from OCD to habit, and all through this time you do that because you believe your goddamn mind. You believe your thoughts. Instead of understanding it's a malfunction of the caudate nucleus in the middle of the brain, that it doesn't shut off the intrusive thoughts that it's supposed to automatically shut off, because it knows about your inner information, who you are, what you are, and these sort of thoughts are not suitable to you. These sort of thoughts you're not interested at all. But because it has malfunctioned to shut off the suggestions and intrusive thoughts, you begin to think, oh, that must be me then, and have no clue that you're an electrical system, and you can malfunction like any other electrical system. And in this case, caudate nucleus is malfunctioning, is not shutting off the stream of suggestions, thoughts coming from the orbital frontal cortex. And because it can't get the response of negativity toward that suggestion back to itself, it doesn't shut down. It keeps sending it, and because it keeps sending it, it keeps being present in your head to the point that you think, oh, this must be true, because why is it not going away? It's not going away because there's a fucking malfunction in the caudate nucleus, not because it's not going away because you have turned into an elephant with the lion's head. It is just like that you believe that you have turned into an elephant is no different than believing that your gender has changed or may change, or you're living in denial when you well damn know that you've been living as the sexual orientation that you always had. You're heterosexual, you were born heterosexual. You're homosexual, you were born homosexual. You're not going to change. So these thoughts that make you afraid of this and gives you anxieties, these are what brain does, but it's not having any responsibility to conjure up thoughts based on who you are. It conjures up thoughts based on the fact that it can conjure up thoughts. Just like you can conjure up an elephant with the head of a lion. But it's not true at all. But it does creates it. But you're damn sure it's not true. And in the same way, it creates all other kind of shit thoughts that doesn't suit you and you're not interested and is not true about you. But it can. Then how come you can't simply see the fact that this, just like the other one, is not true either? Because the brain can make up any fucking thing. You're supposed to be the smart one. You're supposed to be the intelligent. Thought is not intelligent. What it shows up is not intelligence. It's relying on you. You, the me, is relying on your judgment to make sure that you don't get bamboozled by these thoughts, and you won't go nuts, and you won't go crazy, and you won't think that you are what you're not and you've never been. but suddenly it's suggested to you and you fall because you've been conditioned to think that brain is intelligence. Thought is intelligence. It's not. You're not thoughts. Thought is not you. You're not the brain. Brain is not you. You're you, and you're the master. You're on top, and you're supposed to be making judgments on all these neural ensembles. All right. Having said that, let me have a sip of tea. I get pissed off when I see people are being bamboozled by their own brain when they have a duty to understand their faculties. If you're a president of the company, you can see who's actually not functioning, who's actually functioning to the detriments of the company, of the corporation, of the project, and you will fire them. Or at least you put them in the mailroom. Or you just let them be, but you don't pay attention to them. But when it comes to this, you're supposed to be that CEO. And the garbage thoughts that show up is like employees that are not meaning well for the well-being and health of the corporation. You're supposed to simply put them in the mailroom. Let them be, but don't pay attention to them. Do your own stuff. Then you got it made. Then you're living. Then you become the master of yourself and on your way to freedom of thoughts, freedom from thoughts, and freedom of mind. All right. All right. Muhammad says, yes, I get it, sir. It creates it and we buy into that. Good for you. All right. Manuel, male 22 Dutch, says, I found a girl in church. Oh, did you find her? Okay. She was lost. She seems very interested. We had 4 dates, but I don't know if I should go for her or should I just wait because I'm young. Well, wait for what? Did you mean that you're going to get married with her? Are you looking for someone to get married? If you're looking for someone to get married, how long are you going to wait? When you're 30? So from now until 30, you want to be celibate? No girlfriend? What is it that you're choosing? The problem with many of us in our youth or even now is that we keep thinking, I should wait for the one. How do you know the one is the one until you actually get to know her? And how can you get to know her if you haven't gotten to know her, if you haven't gone on a date, if you haven't spent time with her, if you haven't seen how each other's consciousness conditioning is, and if you're compatible in the conscious level or not? Or are you telling me that she's not pretty enough? That makes you think she's not the one to go for. Because you can't have a relationship with pretty. Pretty is not where the relationship is. You have certain criteria and important to expect certain aesthetics and fitness level and whatever is your preferences on the physical attributes. But that is not where the relationship makes or breaks. It's when you bond on consciousness level. When you guys can understand each other and find commonalities on the levels of perception and understand what the real perception is, what you're doing in this life and how you're really actually going to complete each other as far as the, being, helping each other for the project you're hoping to accomplish and so on and so forth. So how are you going to figure that out? By constantly saying, well, I'm too young, I gotta wait. So you mean if you're 25 or 26, then you have the wisdom to pick the right girl without getting to know her, so that's why you're waiting? Because at all times, doesn't matter what age you are, you still got to interact with the girl to know if you guys are compatible and meet each other at the right level on the consciousness level. So I don't understand what this means. Should I go for her because I'm too young? Too young for what? You're 22 years old. You want a girlfriend? Get a girlfriend. But if you think if I get a girlfriend, I got to marry her, well, that's a different story. I don't think you should marry anyone that just because she's your girlfriend. And you shouldn't get married with a guy just because you found a boyfriend. and you may be a, I don't know, 22-year-old, 25-year-old, 30-year-old woman, and I don't know what your mentality would be, but just because you have a boyfriend doesn't mean you should get married to him. You got to see if you guys are compatible, because marriage is not something that you feel, oh, she's pretty or he's good looking, therefore that's good enough reason. You feel good today, so you make you got to get to know each other on different levels, and that's going to take time. So 22, you get to know her and then decide. If it works, good. If it doesn't work, then you guys go on about your ways and you learn something and advance to a different level. And you know what your expectations would be. Lovely Lily says, yeah, Mehran, always told exact... what? Always told exact, guys, believe me. I was involved in breathing obsession, and Mehran told me it's just automatic function, don't focus on it. And I try to trust his word, and I'm 70-80% cured. Oh, that's so wonderful. Beautiful. I'm proud of you. Melissa says, I had OCD as a child. When I feel it triggered or fear, it resurfaces. Interesting. What about ego and the relationship to thoughts? Yeah, they're all thought driven. They're all thoughts. Lovely Lily says, now my mind sometimes makes new threats like am I taking enough amount of oxygen? You don't have to worry about that, because if you wanted to leave that to thought could have killed you by now, because it's not up to thought. Doesn't matter what thought comes to your head about you breathing oxygen enough or not, or how to breathe, it doesn't make any difference, because that is an independent system. It's not listening to thought. Just like your heart is not listening to thought. These are independent systems. There's like totally different system. They're not connected. No, it can interfere just because a suggestion, but the actuality of function of breathing organs is not interfered. It has their own system and backup system, and they don't listen to thoughts. Look, this is what you have to understand, guys. Thought is no different than your kidneys. Kidney has a certain things it's supposed to do. That's it. Liver is designed to do certain things. It's a feature. It's an apparatus. It's a fragment of your physical being. Brain is also another part that makes thoughts. Thought is separate, just like kidney is separate from liver. The kidney is not going to interfere with the function of the liver. Cannot. Doesn't matter how much it tries. And the liver cannot interfere with the function of your heart. Purposely, you know. I'm not saying you go and drink yourself to death for a million years and then toxics are not cleared up because your liver is shut down and then the system dies. That's not because you can't say, oh, liver affected my heart. No, liver died and a part of it. So if my brain gets crushed by a truck, yeah, it can kill me because there are function that is supposed to do. But its functions does not include making my kidney change to liver. It can't do that. Same thing. Thought cannot change your gender. Thought cannot stop your breathing. A thought cannot affect the amount of oxygen is going to go to your lung. Every time the lung automatically is designed to function and breathe in, it brings in the amount of oxygen they're supposed to bring in. Yeah? If I'm bending over, my breathing is not going to be as deep as if I'm standing up. That's because physically I'm pushing myself and not. So it's just irrelevant thinking that a thought can ever stop you from breathing. In fact, thought is dependent on breathing. If you stop breathing, thought stops. So thought cannot affect the breathing, but your breathing can stop your thinking. Can you ever see that? Look, just do this. Close your mouth and do this. All you're thinking is, how can I get some air in? You're not thinking. The thought stops working. The only thing is in thoughts is, okay. Thought is saying, okay. I'm not interfering. I just want you to be good. I want to think about breathing. That's all. Please breathe. Because thoughts, life is dependent on your breathing. It's not that your breathing is dependent on your thoughts. It's your thought ability and possibility for thinking that is dependent on you breathe. It's dependent on your heart to beat. So it's your heartbeat and your breathing that can make and possible bring about, allow thought to exist and continue its bloody functions. And then we choose from all those creations of thoughts, not anywhere else. Thought is a subordinate, is an apparatus, is an organ. That's all. Brain is an organ, makes thoughts. Kidney is an organ, cleans and filters blood. Liver is an organ and detoxificates you. Everything has its own purpose. But coming out saying, oh, my thought is going to change my gender. What the fuck is that? What's wrong with you guys? All right. It's Melissa says, wow, brain like a landmine. Yeah. And all right, Melissa says, thank you for that. Manuel says, I want something serious. You want something serious, but won't want to waste time. The problem is, where are we? We're talking about, the 22. Okay, you're talking about the girlfriend that you found, the girl you found in the church. She says, so he continues, says, I want something serious. Yeah, but the serious is not going to be handed to you. Hello, sir. How are you today? I'm fine. Here it is, a serious. There's no such thing. Your attitude toward that based on compatibility between the consciousness of the two and determination of both traveling in the same direction, it could turn some relationship into serious. You can't have a daughter. That's laziness. That's not seriousness. What you're telling me is that I want something handed to me, a girl that is made in the factory for me, the way I wanted it, the program that I wanted, the agreements that she's going to give me, the things that she's going to be, how she's going to be, this how she's going to look, this how she's you're talking about the future dolls that they're going to make, and people are going to start having, I don't know, mechanical girlfriends. It's going to do everything you want, talk the way you want, look the way you want, dress the way you want. You got to dress it, actually. That's not telling me that you're looking for a serious relationship. Serious relationship needs work, understanding, compatibility, compassion, getting to know each other, finding each other's compatibility, how you fit, bonding unconsciously, learning about each other, seeing each other in action in real life, how you deal with life and manage your life and meet the challenges and help each other and all that. Then it can become serious. But you're telling me, please give me serious. Well, go to Harry Potter. There's a character called Sirius. You know what I'm talking about. So it's not like you say, I'm going to wait till the serious shows up. No, you turn a relationship based on interactions and determine by both if it's going to be serious, if it's going to that direction, and then you'll figure it out. So I want something serious, but don't want to waste time. Waste time who? Whose time? So when you started learning math, you said, I don't want to waste time. I want something serious. Show me algebra right from beginning. You got to bloody learn 2 + 2 = 4. and this minus that is that, and then multiplication, and then division, and then problem solving, and so on, and then you have the basis, and then you go on and you go to the different levels, and then Einstein appears, all process of it. But Einstein never said, oh, I don't have time, I just want to create the theory of relativity, and that's it. I just want to do that. Well, duh. So same thing, you're telling me I just want to have a good wife, I just want to have a good relationship, I just want to have a serious thing. Well, go make it. But as a process, first you find a girl in church or anywhere, you just happen to find in church, and then you see interaction. Then you go on dates. But if you think it's not for you, okay, I appreciate that. You go on. But don't tell me that I gotta wait till the serious, actually the one I want, without me actually knowing what it is, will appear and say, oh, by the way, I heard that you've been waiting for me. I am the serious one. Oh, that doesn't work. And this is the problem, is I found out indirectly that her father died, and I'm afraid that could have some negative effects later on. Everybody's father dies, and everybody is going to have that negative effect. What are you talking about? You're looking for someone whose father never dies? I'm spooked. Come on now, don't be lazy. That's what makes a relationship strong, if you can help people in their agonies, in their troubles, in their challenges. Oh yeah, I'm having a great time. I have money, I have a nice car, I have a good job, and I'm healthy and no challenges, and I have a nice girlfriend. We go on vacations and we order food and they come in and serve us, and all good. Anybody can enjoy that life and say, I'm happy. But how do you handle when something goes wrong? Some challenges appears. These are what makes you to know what you're made out of, what you can handle, because life is not going to be smooth sailing, I tell you. Doesn't matter how smooth the surface of the ocean is, but still gonna have different hazards, and that smooth surface will change according to the weather, the sunshine, the thunder, the things that's gonna happen that you didn't expect. So you better learn how to be a captain rather than a passenger on a ship. So if something happens, you know how to navigate. And these sort of things that happens, her father dies and you gotta go through, help her out, so on. These are what makes you a captain. Otherwise, you'll always be riding a bus and looking at others who have become captains. All right. Melissa says core values are important. Sweet. Yeah. If you look at many of the videos, especially on intrusive, transient, OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts, we've talked about wise, advocate, gatekeeper, super consciousness, which your core values are stored in them, and based on that you protect them with all costs, including from outside utterings and effects of other people making comments about or towards, suggestions or whatever, actions towards you, and protecting them from inner thoughts and intrusions that comes from inside the head. So whether it's from other people from outside of us, or whether it's from thoughts in the form from inside of our heads, in the form of thoughts, we protect our base principles, core principles, our values, what's important is what's meaningful for us, regardless of what thought shows up or what people nonsense they utter. We protect our inner values, our core principles. That's how we win. We stand our grounds. You must understand, thought is not your values. Your values are beyond that. And you protect your values from outsiders and from thoughts. Thought is coming from brain. Brain is very powerful. If you don't have the mightiness of showing who the boss is, you will be the follower of thought who has no responsibility, instead of you commanding their services for your benefit and for your choices, just like rest of your organs serve you for the me to be powerful and healthy. Same thing. Thought supposed to be serving you, not you following it or serve its purposes or suggestions. Yeah? Based on your core values, you know what thoughts are. Simply recognize what they are, call them for what they are, intrusive, and let them be and move on. And which thoughts are useful for your calculations, accomplishment, designing something, producing something, and advancing your life for a certain purpose and figuring out things. That is how you use that feature of yours. Lily says, wow, Mehran, your words always refresh my life in thoughts and thoughts. Good. And Make Your Touch says, hello, Mehran. What advice would you give yourself in your 20s? Life, relationship, use of time, male 26, Morocco. How could I give myself any advice then, when I didn't I know what I know now? I mean, I wasn't, now it's not then. But if I'm supposed to, are you saying like with what I know, what I would tell me then? Obviously, I'll tell him, do what you did, because that has led into this. If this is any good, then it is because of how I behaved then. Which means think deep and judge well at all times. You cannot do things then wonder what the consequences. The time to do the right thing is before you do it. You think about what you want to do, you think deep about it, you judge about it, all before you do it. In most cases, some cases you got to do it right on the, spur of the moment. But in life, if you want to make decisions, you got to think deep, research it well, consider it like a chess game. I mean, in the chessboard, you think for so long before you make a goddamn move. And there is no real hazard there. It's a game. But you are trying to be methodical, logical, foresee the outcomes. That's a proper way of handling your life. So think about the move that you're about to make before you make it. That's why in chess, touch, move. Some rules. You touch, you move. Means it's too late to come back. So before you touch the move, the pawn, touch the piece to move it, do your thinking, your analyzation, your research, deep thinking, and your judgments, where it's going to go, what it's going to affect, what the consequences will be, how it's going to shape this board game, how it's going to shape the whole situation in this game. And then when it's as much possible you can do it, then you move. Same thing in life. Figure out what you're about to do, what's the consequences, how is it going to shape, how is it going to affect the different tangents of your life, what's the effect of it on other things, aspects of your life, and then move. Not look at that movement, that thought, that whatever it is you're dealing with, just singularly. It's like eating something. Oh, it's delicious, so my taste buds love something sweet. But you're not considering, I'm diabetics. Because you got to consider the effect of this sweetness that you're pleasantly looking for is going to be on another organ. Or supposedly you're not supposed to have too much salt. Oh, well, you eat something that it's delicious and it's, oh, if it was had a little bit more salt, it would be more delicious. Yes, it would be delicious. Your tongue, your taste would be pleased, but the sodium is not supposed to be part of your diet as much as you're using it, even though it's pleasant tasting. So you gotta consider what you're going to be satisfying is actually going to have a not satisfying and negative results on other parts of your organs. So you think about it. The same thing in life. What am I to do? Oh, I like that car. I'm going to buy it. Okay, then what is it going to hurt? Oh, I can't go to school. I can't have food on the table. So you got to think it through. Then you're fine. So think deep and judge well. I guess that's what I would say to myself if I was then. And Muhammad says, pardon, sir, I think you missed my question above. By the way, I'm 26. Did I? Muhammad. Where's Muhammad? I don't see any question, Muhammad. There's nothing here. So if you like to resend it, Muhammad. I don't see. I just see says yes. I get it, sir. It creates it, and we buy into that. That's all I have. Oh, there is one here. All right, let's check that out. Muhammad says, sir, I've arrived at a certain point that I can observe my thoughts, and there is something that I noticed recently. It's that I know that by doing some things I will be free and feel free. And sometimes that will work, but it's like I don't trust myself. It's like its power is not enough. Maybe because of my previous experience or efforts. So can you give me a clear view of this, sir? You gave me no clear view here. How can I give you any clear view? I don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, generally I can kind of guess what you're trying to say, but give me specifics. I can observe my thought. Well, that's a big sentence. That I can have an hour talk with you about it and see what you're talking about, because I have a different understanding of what that means, and I wonder if you understand the same thing. But if you can observe your thoughts, and then you say it's not enough, I don't trust myself, I don't understand, you give me an example so I know what is it that you're observing. And who's doing the observing? Another thought is doing the observing of this thought. So the watcher is observing, is watching the watched. And the watched is actually what has created the watcher. You're observing the thought, but the thought is observing, doing the observing, the observer of the thought, which is another thought. So I don't want to get into too heavy on that. Just give me an example so I would know what you're talking about. All right. All right. So Melissa says, any young person meditate 1 hour a day. Everyone, but especially if you have questions in your youth, would have loved to know about this when I was in my teen years. Melissa, are you talking to me? Oh, I guess you're talking to Muhammad then. Satsiki Zedkiel says 26 male Sweden. Mehran, why does it seem as if many girls I know all seem to lack empathy? surely everyone can't be like that. Why do you want empathy from the girl? Why are you considering yourself a victim or needy to wait for someone to have pity on you? Why can't you respect yourself? You don't need empathy from a girl that has no longer is in a relationship with you. Why do you want empathy from her? Be the master of your own life. Go find another girl. And many girls are like that because they're inundated with all kind of guys approaching them. So many guys lining up. Because, heterosexual male loves girls and they're programmed to seek them. And not necessarily because they know what their conscience is all about. It's because they're programmed for procreation and they want to have sex. So they're attracted to find girls. And there's so many of them could be looking for the same girl, and the girl says, oh, so many attention, they're all maybe good candidates. No, they're not. They're not there all because of the same reason that you would be interested in a relationship. They're there just because you're a girl, that's all. They know nothing of you, so don't be fooled. You got to go through criteria and figure out what is a suitable person. But because that happens anyhow, so many guys are always paying attention to girls, the girls become, in some cases, they don't give a damn. They don't care about compassion or, kindness and all that. It's like a fancy product in the store that everybody's lining up to get it. So the storekeeper wouldn't budge on the price, keeps the price higher and higher and makes it more and more of something to, that people would want to get their hands on. So they become even less and less compassionate. Like somebody says, oh, please, sir, I want that, I don't know, handbag or whatnot. Or please, ma'am, I want that handbag. And there's a lineup of people there, and the storekeeper says, oh, no, not interested to give you any discount. Okay. But when there's nobody lining up, says, oh, I give you a discount, 0.5%, 50%. So this is pretty much the story in a nutshell. Girls are always popular, so they're becoming less and less. Why should you think that the girl's supposed to be actually thinking about what your well-being is? Every human being on this earth, the most important person in their life, beside the discussion about children or loved ones and sacrifice and all that, but the most important person in your life is who? Is you. So everybody thinks that way. So she's not going to be thinking about being compassionate towards you. She's thinking about what's good for her. And so on that, what do you think they are? Saints? No, they're just another human being like you. They're looking after themselves. So they're not going to be compassionate to you. What for? But you expect that. Why? Because you need them and you're compassionate towards them because you need them. But they don't need you, so they're not going to be compassionate. And why are you compassionate to them? Because you need them. And what is that? That means you're trying to satisfy your own need, which means you're the most important person in your life. That's why you're compassionate to them, because it's for you. Even though you're compassionate to them, but it's for you. That's why you're compassionate to them. So if you think that way, even your compassion is because of your own need to satisfy your own need. But it looks like you say, oh, I'm so nice to her. No, you're doing it because you actually want to be considered nice. You're doing it for you. So the same thing. They're looking after themselves. So don't expect compassion from them. Why should you? As Ezekiel says, they talk ill about others behind their back. They are unable to maintain friendship. They gossip. They don't see the duality, the grayness, but rather think in black and white. Well, then find someone who thinks the way that you described. Why do you generalize? Not all girls are like that, maybe most, and not all guys are in a certain way that some girls think. or maybe most, who knows? But why would you be trying to change the world? Why don't you just look for that one or two that would meet your criteria instead of wanting to expect everybody to be an amazing human being? They're not. Face it. Human being is not a saint. They may come to understanding that it is better to develop themselves, and they may make efforts on that, and that's great. But not all going to do that. You know, I was introduced to my Aikido master in university when he had traveled from Japan to our university for a special convention. So I guess there were 700 people in the gymnasium. We were all training. I don't know, it's 300, 700, I don't know what it was. And when the break came, they introduced me to him. One of the masters introduced me to the founder who had come from Japan, and they said Mehran is also an instructor, because I was a rider, I was an equestrian, and I was young. I was 19, 20 years old, and they said Mehran is also an instructor of horses. And he looked at me and he smiled and says, yeah, it's very easy to train a good animal. It's very difficult to train a good human being. He says most people, most human beings are cows. Of course, he didn't mean to disrespect cows. He just wanted to use a way to say that most human beings they're not knowledgeable about anything, and no manners, no proper behavior. And it affected me very much at the time, because in my mind, back of my mind, I said, how could he say that? He's supposed to be the one with so much love and energy and teaching to make us be better people, and how could he say people are cows? It's kind of unkind. But it wasn't a big thing, but it always stayed. It took me about 20 to 30 years later, I came to his conclusion, yes, most people are animals. I mean, animals are far superior than most of us. Most people are cows, not in a derogatory way about cows. Love cows. Just beautiful animals, nice, and they still feed us too. But what I'm trying to say is that, yes, I came to that conclusion. Most people are just idiots, stupid, careless, inhumane, evil, negative. It's all about energy, and they have not developed that ability to bring that positive in line with nature's energy of love and giving and helping things to grow and develop. They're not aligned with that energy. They're idiots. And you are expecting everybody to be the way you think. Well, some are and most not. Look for the ones who are. That's all. Don't expect to change the world. You'll be waiting for a long time. Melissa says, many times we crave that, well, we cannot tolerate. Okay, you're talking about something else. Emri Kea says, male 21 UK, how to remain disciplined for the gym when feeling emotionally low, upset. Oh, you need to understand that that gym is actually going to get you out of your emotionally upset moment. Because when you go and have the oxytocin by seeing friends to create it, secreted from your brain, yeah? When you have that melatonin and serotonin created because of the activities that you're having there, the stress hormone reducing because of the GABA is created when you're exercising, doing some mindful exercise, which either meditation or certain kind of sports where you're focusing on one thing, even playing chess, even making flower arrangements, even drawing, even playing soccer, or something that keeps your attention on one thing. That's mindfulness exercises, which gym is one of them. And then GABA neurotransmitters are created by 30% more, which is responsible. It's a neurotransmitter that is responsible for working against intrusive thoughts, depression, anxiety. And these are what comes from things like mindfulness exercises, meditation, sports, and so on. So that gym that you're thinking, how can I go there, is actually where you should be going there to get rid of this, not to wait until this is gotten rid of and then go to the gym. Gym is like saying, I'm hungry. How can I then eat when I'm hungry? Well, that's what you should be doing so you won't be hungry anymore. So go to the gym and train properly, not because you're angry overly. No, don't. Gym doesn't give a shit. You can get damaged and injured because you're not. Do it properly according to your, what's needed to be done, and then that creates dopamine, oxytocin, melatonin, serotonin, GABA neurotransmitters, reduce the cortisol level, and all of that is happening in the gym. So if you want a remedy for what you're feeling, that's where you should be going. You're hungry, you go eat. Not say, oh, I can't eat because I'm hungry. All right. Chinmay says, sir, I know it's repetitive. Let me get get my friend ready then. I know it's repetitive, but she's missing me a lot and suffering from it. She's missing you? Are you nuts? Delusional? The girl who left you and doesn't want to talk to you? Doesn't want to pay attention to you? And you have this illusion that she's missing you? What are you waiting for? For her to call the police? What's wrong with you? She's writing poetry on her Instagram. That's not for you. That's for Instagram. Maybe she's missing something else. Why do you think she's missing you? If she's left you, told you to go away, but then you're reading in her poetry in the Instagram and saying, oh, this is about me. Why do you do that? I'm really, really concerned because I can't see her suffer. She can evil self-harm. What are you, her doctor or her daddy or her mommy? It's not your responsibility. You're there, you've offered to her that I'm here if you want me, Obviously, she's not. Can he not? Can she? She can put on Instagram. She can't call you up, say, hey, I miss you. Can it not be that clear? And you've seen this and you've approached her before because you've seen these poetries that you say you see, and you did contact her, didn't you? You told me so, I believe so, here. And she told you, don't call me again. So I don't understand. Are you delusional or she's crazy? One of the two, Could be both. Who knows? And Chinmay says, it's not like I want her back or I want any authority of a relationship over her. I'm just madly concerned about her well-being. Bullshit. Should I approach? No, because it's bullshit. You know it's bullshit. Who are you? Her daddy? That you're concerned about her well-being? No, you want her. That's why you're concerned. If she didn't look the way she did, she didn't know you didn't know her, and somebody else was writing a poetry in the Instagram that you didn't know, you would be concerned? That you would want to help her? And if she wasn't pretty or ugly, not the way you like it, if she was ugly, something that you didn't like, would you still want to help her? So cut the bullshit and be clear about it, that you're using all these excuses as a humanity in order to get back with her, or at least get her to, pay attention to you. So I'm thinking you better think it through, what you're saying, what you're doing, and instead of focusing on your life, you're trying to take responsibility for somebody else's well-being or happiness when she doesn't ask for it. She has her own ways. because she had the opportunity to be with you and she said no. So what's wrong with you then? Move on. And Faisal says, hello Mehran, hello Faisal. So we hear a lot about consciousness and what can be done with it. In your experience, what is the most powerful or most significant thing that can be done with our consciousness? The consciousness is the content of the consciousness. Try to put good stuff in it. But everything gets in there. It's not in your control, because since you're intelligent and you can see things, you can hear things, you can read things, you know, they get into the consciousness. But try not to allow everything that is a consciousness to be the conditioning of your consciousness. Let that information float there, be there, okay. But understand that lots of information are useless and you don't need them. But you're a recording machine. You absorb anything that is out there, like a microwave or radio wave station receiver, that you receive all the waves from all corners of the world. But you don't do anything with them necessarily. Only the particular message that you're waiting for a certain corner of the world that comes to you, and you recognize that certain call at a certain frequencies, and you pick on that and use that for your purposes and your communication purposes. That's all. But the rest of the stuff, yeah, it comes in, but you let them be. You don't pay attention. The same thing. Consciousness is capable of recording everything. Everything that you're exposed to somehow, one way or another, media, TV, news, reading, lifestyles, people, whatever it is, rumors, stories, it enters. It's like a library. People deposit in books. Some of these books are deposited by you, belongs to you. You bought it from a store and you put it in that library. And some of the other books, they find their way. They're donated, or other people bring it and deposit in the library. So the library has many books, and that creates its library. And that information in your consciousness is like those books in the library, creates your library. Well, you don't read every one of them. You only go to the one that is needed. And many of them are garbage because you didn't choose them. It just happened to be donated or people brought it. And the library has the job of taking books. Okay. And the consciousness is the same, has the job of getting all this information and there. But when it goes haywire, starts using all that shit that is no use to you and try to present it to you as, oh, something that you're interested in. No, I'm not interested in. But you have to have that power of selectivity, selection abilities, and to choose and diss the ones that you don't need it, by knowing that every garbage that has gotten into your consciousness is not necessarily necessary for you. It's not definitely necessary for you. And you're supposed to be able to be a good selector, not a follower of what the garbage has been accumulated in the consciousness. Otherwise, you become the quality of what you use among all the shit that has been accumulated in the consciousness. So have respect for yourself and choose the ones that is relevant to you according to your values and core principles, and just choose those and select those for your purposes and diss the others. So, selectability of the content of the consciousness is your mandate in order to protect your core values, what's relevant to you, and keep what's irrelevant to you and meaningless to you, regardless of how many times it shows up in the images or thought pattern or suggestions in your mind. Keep them away, focus on your way, and only focus on the frequency of the signals that are coming that you are wanting to have communicate with, based on your core values, your preferences, your lifestyle, and what it is that you want to protect. That's the one you focus on. The rest of it, you let them be like the debris in the air, but you have a filter in your nose. You don't take all the shit that is coming through the air. You have filter them. Only the oxygen goes in. The rest of the stuff out. But they're there. You can't help them. They're there. The debris and the impurities are there. Same thing. In the consciousness, we have all kind of shit. Thoughts, all kind of shitty thoughts. As I said before, to the point that it suggests that you're not the gender that you are. If you're heterosexual, It tells you, oh, you're homosexual, or you're going to turn gay. This is the level of intrusions that thought can make. And you're supposed to simply be aware of that and be above it all and monitor and regulate based on what's your core principles, what's your preferences, and what's meaningful to you, what your values and lifestyle is, and you protect that despite of what other impurities all around. Like your nose, you filter things, and thoughts should also be filtered, because most of them are just garbage and irrelevant to you. All right. Having said that, let's move on to Zakil says, thanks for answering my question, Mehran. At least I avoided the ugly stick. Oh, well, it's right here. You didn't really avoid it. It was always in my hand. Without it, I can't get you guys in line. And to be good to yourself. You're looking for that compassionate person? Don't look for it. Be the one and unleash it on yourself first. Be compassionate to yourself. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Don't start letting yourself be subject and to all these things, including thoughts, including people who are not caring and considerate or measuring up or qualified. Don't be afraid to disqualify things that are not qualified. Simple. It's not a sin. Protect yourself from all foreign and domestic, people outside, and even your own thoughts. Protect yourself. And Chinmay says, thanks, sir, thanks for coming at my rescue once again. You are the teacher I needed, but I didn't deserve. Of course you deserve. Everybody deserves. And Zain says, my partner said they wanted to cut off communication with me, and it's been 2 weeks now without my conversation. Okay. All right. So what? Faisal says, thank you, Mehran. Peace and love. You're quite welcome. And thank you, Melissa. Oh, you're talking to Melissa. All right. Naruto Uzumaki says Shinmei, and okay, you're talking to Shinmei. All right, guys. It looks to me that it's time for me to end the live streaming. Again, it's time to say thank you very much for being here. I love you all, and thank you very much for being here. Give me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. Be good to yourself and to the others. I look forward to talk to you next week. In the meantime, please do like the videos that you like and share them on your social media. Promote the channel if you will. We need to help people, reach more people, to help people to understand about their psyche, their mind, the role of their thoughts, and so on, and to be able to have a wonderful, free life and focused life without interference of the negative thoughts. And so on that note, I look forward to see you guys next week. Until then, be good to yourself, to the others, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.